So a couple days ago, Colby Covington announced his return to the UFC. That's right, Chaos is back. What may be the uncrowned champion of the welterweight division is back. He had an injury in his last fight against Leon Edwards, and we all knew that that injury just prevented him from doing anything. He probably would have won that fight if that didn't happen. And now he's coming back to get that belt with a mindset like never before. It's definitely not a money grab. And he's fighting Buck, who is a good friend of the channels. We all know Buck is he's a Real Food Cookbook user, actually. Me and Buck are teaming up to do the Real Food Cookbook Pro. And we also have Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry saving the day at UFC 310 to replace Belal Muhammad, who was supposed to fight Shavkat. Belal Muhammad pulled out, and now Ian Garry, not so popular, but I think people are starting to really respect the grind. People are starting to respect Ian Garry's activity and willingness to fight anyone and everyone. MVP, down the rankings, he took him on. He was going to fight Buck, said no, he's fighting Shavkat. I don't know if it's such a close case. I think that Shavkat and Ian Garry is actually a really solid fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. And I'm going to basically break down both of these fights, but let's get on to Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry. I think this is going to be a close fight. It's going to be a war. I don't think Shavkat's going to submit Ian Garry, although if that happens, that'll be insanely impressive because Garry does have good jiu-jitsu. He trained with Charles Oliveira and Damian Maia, so therefore, he's got to have amazing jiu-jitsu, right? But listen, Gary's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. We saw him easily out-grapple Michael Venom Page, and Kevin Holland wasn't able to come close to that. And Kevin Holland's got a decent submission game, but Garry controlled him real well on the ground. Garry also has a black belt in judo, I believe, and I kind of joke around about the training with Charles and Damian Maia, but he has put in a lot of work with them. And he's always talking about how his grappling is underrated. Shavkat's actually showing it and impressing us every single time by finishing people on the ground and submitting a guy like Wonderboy Thompson, which is damn near unheard of. Now, as far as the striking, I still think Shavkat's just going to be a slight step ahead every time. Okay, and what I mean by that is Gary's tall, Shavkat's tall. Gary's got a long reach, Shavkat has a long reach. Gary's got little peppermint punches, and Shavkat actually hits hard. Okay, Shavkat dangerous in the clinch. Ian Garry, he's got really good knees in the clinch. He's very slick in the clinch, but I wouldn't say he's that dangerous in the clinch. Garry doesn't have a crazy amount of power. And after watching that Jeff Neal fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov, I'm not convinced that this is a guy that's going to get finished by Ian Garry. Like, I think that if anyone's going to finish him, I'm still not picking anyone to finish him on the feet. Like, I wouldn't pick even Prates or JDM to necessarily finish him on the feet, but if anyone's going to finish him, it's going to be guys like that, not Ian Garry, the leek stew eating Garry, okay? He's still eating his leek stew, and I don't know if that's conducive to having that extra pop. Garry is also getting progressively smaller every time he fights. That's just a fact. He's losing muscle mass. I think Gary's good. I think his striking is good. It's easy to look at his last fight and say he got destroyed by MVP on the feet, but MVP makes everybody look silly. I mean, Shavkat was in there with Wonderboy, and Wonderboy was lighting him up on the feet, and Shavkat wasn't having any success. And fair enough, it was only a couple minutes where they were on the feet, but still, it's hard to look good against these like karate-style fighters like Wonderboy and MVP. We didn't see Buckley really have a lot of success towards the middle and end of his fight with Wonderboy Thompson. It's not like Shavkat would have never had success, but right, like MVP is an even faster version of Wonderboy right now, and I don't think that getting outstruck by him means that Ian Garry's a shitty striker. Ian Garry is a very good striker. I think it really just comes down to durability, grittiness, and built differentness. And I think that even though Gary's got good jiu-jitsu, Shavkat's just going to be a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit more built different, okay? A little bit more built different. I don't think he's going to submit Garry, but on the feet, Gary's going to be landing his teeps. Gary's going to be landing his leg kicks. He has very good leg kicks. Gary's going to be landing his jab, but Shavkat's just going to be landing that big right hand every once in a while. Shavkat's going to be landing that knee in the clinch every once in a while. Shavkat's going to be wearing on him, making him carry his weight, like DC says. And I just think it's going to just, Shavkat's just going to be a little stronger. His head's going to be a little bit harder, a little bit more durable, a little more of a blockhead. Gary's going to have a little bit of a smaller P head. And I just think literally it'll come down to just Shavkat being built different, tough as fuck, and more dangerous. He's just more dangerous. He's got output. He's got cardio. Yeah, he's hittable. Garry's going to light him up at times. But he's going to be in there. It's not like, he's got like a tremendous reach and height advantage. I mean, Shavkat's like the same height, similar reach, just hits harder. Just got a little bit of a stronger squeeze in the submissions. And I think what we're going to see is a third or fourth round, Garry's going to be putting up a fight. We're going to be, oh, Garry's so tough because he is actually kind of durable. Garry's actually a little bit durable, man. He's pretty durable. The amount of times in which people have said, I just think Garry's going to get KO'd. Garry doesn't look like he's, got a build for taking a lot of damage. And I've even said stuff like that. But Garry every time goes out there and doesn't really get put out. I mean, he took MVPs, right hands and overhands, which was very impressive. He was able to eat some big punches from Jeff Neal, right? Garry is very tough. He is actually pretty durable. But again, Shavkat, we're talking Shavkat now. And I know that Shavkat is aura maxing. And I know that a lot of this pick is based on, that's not a real. It is, though. It is a real reason to pick someone because they are built different in MMA durability-wise. Why do you think Merab is champ? Merab isn't champ because he's just got the slickest takedowns and he's got the slickest submission game and his striking is just a little bit. No, Merab is champ because he's built different, bro. Merab's got a freak third lung, okay? Merab Dvalishvili is just hungrier than everyone, and he's just a madman. That's why he's champ. It boils down to Merab just being impossible to deal with because he's built different, okay? He doesn't have the best wrestling, as I said, doesn't have the best striking, but he's just got a better gas tank. He's just super strong. And he's super tough, and no one can deal with the physicality. That's literally what it is. That's what it boils down to. Shavkat is like that. Fair enough, he doesn't have the cardio. Shavkat is like that with the technique, though. Okay? Shavkat is like that, but he has the technique. But he has the submission game, and he has the striking, and he has the power. He's OP. No one's beating Shavkat at welterweight, and certainly not Ian Garry. Okay? Garry is good, but this is what's going to happen. Third, fourth round, you're going to see the commentators, oh, what a fight. It's going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be a barn burner. Garry's going to be looking a little woozy-eyed. He's going to have some blood on his face, and the commentators and the fans are going to be on their feet. What a fight, what a fight. And Shavkat's still going to be fresh, and Garry's going to be, he's tough, but eventually he's going to start to fade a little bit, and that's what happens, man. He's only human. Garry is only vegan. Okay, you can't expect him to have a durability win against Shavkat. So I think that fourth round, it's just gonna be one of those exhaustion TKOs. Garry he's just done. I honestly think that's what's gonna happen, man. So yeah, I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be a really competitive fight. I think Shavkat's going to take Garry down, and Garry's going to surprise us with his ability to fend off submissions. And, the clinch, Garry's going to actually get manhandled in the clinch, though, because his strength is not on Shavkat's level. Horse meat versus leek stew. That's literally what it is. Horse meat, anabolic horse meat versus leek stew from the bottom of a pond, okay? Who do you think's winning that battle, bro? Who do you think's winning that battle? Obviously, horse meat, bro. Okay? Fucking ground 90-10 lean horse beef for breakfast. Okay? And a bowl of grits. Shavkat Rakhmonov, since he came to America, he started eating grits, and he's getting extra gritty. So You put that up against the zucchini pancakes. I think Shavkat's going to win that battle. All right. So I really think this is going to be an excellent fight. I can't wait for it. It's going to be competitive on the feet. It is actually going to be competitive. Garry's going to be chopping away at the legs. Garry's going to be piecing Shavkat up. Shavkat's got a big target for a head. He's got a big block head. He's very hittable. It's just going to be one of those close tit-for-tat battles where Shavkat's damaging him a little bit more. But let's get on to Buck and Colby. I think that Colby Covington is coming back for a money grab, okay? He's been hanging around Mar-a-Lago. He's been betting and doing poker and all that stuff. It seems like his newfound passion. And is he coming back because he's got an itch to compete and he wants to win the belt again? Because there is a world where if he wins this fight, he's going to demand a title shot. And Dana White, for whatever reason, Dana White, whenever Colby gets a win, just cannot help himself but give him a title shot. There's just something in Dana that just loves Colby Covington and title shots. There's a world where if Colby wins, he will demand one, okay? And he might get one. And I'm a little bit worried if that happens just because when Colby's around, there's usually a logjam in the welterweight division. When Colby's not around, everyone's fighting each other. The welterweight division used to be known for being the welterweight division. We had to wait around forever to get good fights. And there was a logjam, especially in the Leon Edwards era as well. But now I think the welterweight division might be the best division in the UFC. You know what? It is the best division in the UFC. It's stacked. A couple years ago, it wasn't so stacked. It is unbelievably stacked. Everyone's fighting each other. But again, is Colby Covington coming back because he thinks he can win a championship fight? Could he beat Buckley? Yeah, he could. But is he going to be at his best? Is he going to be hungry? Is Colby Covington going to be putting in, the same miles with Cam Hanes? Is he going to be with David Goggins? Because that's the thing. It's never been about, can Colby train? He's going to train, but if he's got to pull out all the stops. He's got to bring out Goggins. He's got to bring out Cam Hanes, because those are the real coaches. Everyone talks about MMA coaches. The real coaches are the Instagram coaches. But let's be serious. I really do think that Colby Covington is just coming back for a payday. And part of the reason why I'm saying that is because he's coming off of the most sorry-ass performance of his entire career, where, yeah, he got a foot injury in the first round, but still, the Colby Covington that I know from the Kamaru Usman 1 fight, the Colby Covington that I know from the Robbie Lawler fight, from the Jorge Masvidal fight, from both Usman fights, was a Colby Covington that would have pushed forward no matter what. And if you disagree with that, then what about the 5th round where Colby Covington actually did push the pace on Leon Edwards and actually won that round? Colby used to be one of the toughest guys with an iron resolve, and I don't know if that's the case anymore. And Buckley, 30 years old, Colby is Colby's 36, almost 37, 7 years younger than Colby Covington, and the most improved fighter in the UFC this year. Joaquin Buckley, a year and a half ago, was talked about as just being like a unranked journeyman type of fighter. We knew he was young, but we didn't really have high hopes for him. Since then, he's gotten 3 really good wins. They've progressively gotten more and more impressive, even though the Vicente Luque win was a little bit weird, just because it seemed like he quit. But Buckley was still doing well in that fight. Of course, before that, he beat Nursultan Ruziboyev after the Luque fight, knocking out Wonderboy Thompson in the 3rd round, which shocked everybody. I mean, a lot of people picked Buckley because they thought he would be able to control Wonderboy on the ground. He wasn't able to do that, but he did knock him out on the feet, which is insane. That's the first time that's happened since Anthony Pettis, and there's only 2 people to ever KO Wonderboy on the feet. So, I mean, you're going from a guy that we talked about as maybe being like a journeyman in the UFC to the most improved fighter, and still 30 years old, young, hungry, in good shape. His cardio is amazing. That's the thing. Colby Covington, he's known for his cardio, but Joaquin Buckley's got really good cardio too. He's stronger than Colby. He's very strong. He hits hard. He's becoming more and more dangerous, and his cardio is a solid part of his game that's slept on. No one really talks about Buckley's cardio, but he gets better as fights go on. Look at the 3rd round against Nursultan Ruziboyev. Look at the 3rd round against Wonderboy Thompson. Look at the 3rd round against Imavov in France when he fought Imavov. That was his best round. Imavov started to fade a little bit, and he started beating him up. Classic example of welterweight skill. Now he's a welterweight. Back then he was a middleweight, but he was a welterweight fighting a middleweight. Lighter man skill and good cardio. I think Buckley is going to knock Colby out. I do. I think he's going to KO him. Colby Covington used to be super tough. Yeah, he would get dropped. He'd pop right back up. But I don't know if Colby Covington is going to pop right back up taking all that damage. I don't know if his mindset is the same these days. I don't know if he's as hungry as he used to be. And I think that's going to be a big difference maker. I don't know who would win this Prime versus Prime, but this is a past Prime. Not all there mentally. 1 foot in, 1 foot out Colby Covington, who, you know, maybe 6 months ago, Colby wouldn't have wanted to fight anyone. He maybe would have wanted to hang up the gloves, but he's itching to get a fight. Yeah, he'll train hard and whatever, but I just, you know, there's a different level of hunger that I see in Colby Covington and Buckley. Buckley has always been someone that's seemed like he's really wanted it, and now that he's winning and doing better than ever and knocking out people like Wonderboy, that would reinforce, you know, his own belief in himself. And I'm sure that today he's more motivated than ever before. And now he actually thinks he could become a champion, whereas, you know, everyone wants to be a champion, but until you really start beating those top-level guys, you don't really know. I think Buckley knows that there's a chance, right? Now he's in the mix. He's in the run. Colby, I don't know. I think Buckley's going to beat him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time.